United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Clerk,
Here.
Councilwoman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Mills,
Here.
Councilman Simmons,
Here.
President Kole,
Here.
Mayor Sidnor. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Agenda item number 4, report of the mayor and city council. This evening we'll start with Ms. Clark.
Thank you, President Kole. Happy fall, everyone. It's officially time to get your jackets. I had a great time seeing everyone and the Main Street businesses for Halloween. Thank you to everyone who was so gracious to all of our kids. I apologize that you haven't seen me. I've been sick, but didn't want anyone to catch my cold, so I made sure I stayed away from everyone. With that, make sure that you are taking care of yourselves. Right now is a season where a lot of people are getting colds. COVID is still here, and I actually saw this week that they have released a new test that has a 3-in-1 with a flu, a second version of the flu, and COVID, where you can take it at one time to see if you have any of them. And I have purchased those as well on Amazon and with the company. In addition to that, I had an opportunity to volunteer prior to being in the house at the Multi-Service Center. Thank you to Ano Lawua for training me. She was absolutely amazing. I got to learn so much about the Multi-Service Center, about all of the areas in there where you can volunteer, you can help our residents. I got to meet a lot of people that were there, and just to get to know them, even watching some gospel that they were watching and playing some games with them. So if you would like to donate, if you would also like to volunteer, and if you would like to stop by, you can email info@laurelmsc.org. They're welcoming people on a daily basis. I believe that volunteer hours are either an hour or 2 hours. So even if you have some time in your day, just stop by or give them a call or email. In addition to that, had the opportunity also with Councilmember Simmons to stop by and meet with the Laurel High School staff. They're planning an outing coming up soon, actually, to get the students prepared and ready for applying for colleges. It's going to be a great time, but they're also looking for local businesses that would like to donate, whether it be recyclable bags where the kids can collect information that will be at this event, or if you'd like to donate funds or food, you can contact the Laurel High School, the guidance counselors there. They are welcoming all of those donations. That concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Councilman Mills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. On October 30th, I was attended the principals breakfast that the mayor gave at the Craig A. Multi-Service Center, and I learned some new information that we need to work on within the city, and I'm gonna talk about that soon. November 1st. Was the first day of American Indian Heritage Month. Happy Diwali. I was able to attend the celebration of lights. That's what Diwali means, celebration of lights, at the Shri Sawam Manariam Temple. And I was in Beltsville, had a great time there. And November 1st, later that evening, we had this was the last night for the Safe Fall Nights, and the kids were, this class was phenomenal. They learned about AI, and we dove into more about AI. And these kids, they know this stuff, and so we went deeper into quantum programming, and it was mind blowing. We will be, for the safe winter months, We're supposed to be having, I got a meeting coming up with the mayor to finalize the dates and everything for that. The Safe Winter Nights will be teaching coding, a continuation of coding, financial literacy, and we're going to add English for Latino parents and kids. And so hopefully we can start that around December, probably before a little bit before December 21st, which is the actual first day of winter. But we're just going to call it Safe Winter Nights. And that's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Councilwoman Johnson?
Good evening, Council President, council members, and administration. I just have a brief report today. Just wanted to share that on October 29th, I attended the clergy advisory meeting. We were able to meet and talk to different clergy members around the city to hear what their needs are and to share what the city is doing. And then Director LeBlanc gave us a tour of the multi-service center, which I hadn't had in a while, so it was great to have that. And so I'd just like to reiterate what Councilwoman Clerk was talking about as far as volunteers. There are many, many, many volunteer opportunities available at the multi-service center, so I just encourage everyone to try to find out how you can help out in those different capacities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Councilman Simmons?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. A couple things to share. First off, I just want to pick up on something I shared last week in terms of the Fortune magazine's survey they did of 2,000 cities around the country. One of the quotes I didn't get to share last week, but which I really liked from the article that was written, and again, this was just sort of saying, okay, look at small cities around the U.S. in terms of best places to live, what really makes a place good to live. And one of the pull quotes for me was, we know that health isn't just what's happening inside your body, it's your social connections, your perceptions of safety, and there's a lot that goes into make a city well. The index they use is a person-centric metric that considers social determinants of health, such as access to transportation, green spaces, parks, libraries, and community. And again, I really thought that was a great sort of vision and even a definition for us to consider as we all participate in sort of making Laurel what I think is the best city in the nation. So to some other events that happened within the city, as Councilwoman Clark mentioned, we were together along with the chairwoman from the Education Committee with Laurel High School. That event they're having is January 16th, and it's really intended to be a citywide and even outside the city fair for those at the elementary, middle, and high school age, not just Laurel High School students, but schools at all level. It's enabled to provide resources for students at all those different age. And then also specific for high school students, learning how to write scholarships, being an introduction even from peers for 2- and 4-year institutions, as well as different work tracks that may be possible. I shared with them some apprenticeship opportunities, and we're hoping to have some of those people out there. So it really is supposed to be a citywide thing, and I was very encouraged by their energy and their efforts to sort of bring this for the benefit of the city as a whole. So if you have a student, maybe mark down your calendar for the 16th of January. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, we're having our disability first one rebooted on November 20th, so please reach out if you would like to join that committee. October 31st, I had a lot of fun going around with our little guys trick-or-treating in the neighborhood, and I want to encourage folks to not give up also on going down your street, even if you go to some of the other great events we have around town. It's a great way to build community, a great excuse to meet the new neighbor that moved in down the street, or just to rekindle some of the connections you have to your other neighbors. Everybody has a good time. Thank you for all those in the blocks around us who had their lights on and had some candy at the door. Our kids really, really loved it. So it's a great community building thing. 2 last items. Reminder, tomorrow is the last day to vote, so if you haven't, be sure to go out there. You can look up your polling place online and also look at the Laurel Independence Voting Guide. And then the city will be hosting Small Business Saturday on Saturday, November 30th at the Quill Lot. And if you're a resident, you can stop by there, pick up a passport book to sort of go to Laurel area small businesses and purchase items. That's down the road, certainly mark it, but I mentioned because this Friday, November 8th, is the deadline if you are a small business and you want to be in that passport book. So especially for some of the new retailers, et cetera, that are in the area, and maybe you're not aware of it, this is a great way to get your name out there, and many of those who also have participated for years, please reach out to Economic and Community Development for the Small Business Saturday, that passport book. If you reach out to them, they'll know what to do. Thank you for ECD Director Burrows for spearheading that. And I return it back to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. For my report this evening, I also attended the Principals Breakfast on October 30th that the mayor held. While I was there, I was able to announce on behalf of the council the ordinance that we introduced for public school employee tax credits. All of the principals present were going to take that back to their employees. November 1st, I wanted to thank Parks and Recreation for the Harvest Hayride. I know it wasn't able to happen. I was very glad to see that it was canceled. There is a very large fire risk. We are now in one of the longest dry stretches on recorded history of meteorology since 1880. Just as a reminder for residents, I still keep smelling fire pits in the backyard. While the weather is great for it, there is also a burn ban on fire pits. We don't want to have any fires in the city that we do not need to have. This past Saturday was a busy day. I started my morning with Laurel for Patuxent. They were doing a volunteer trash pickup and vine cutting, trash pickup along Main Street and vine cutting along the river. I spent a little bit of time down there rescuing a magnolia tree that had been overtaken by grapevines and oriental bittersweet. Later that day, I was surprised that there was a Selborne House and Art Council art exhibition here in City Hall. There is still some of the artwork. If you go down the finance office hallway, you'll be able to see some of the pieces that were on display Saturday as well. I attended with Mr. Mills the Diwali celebration at the Mandir in Beltsville. Thank them for their hospitality. Just fascinating to see what the different religions have and how welcoming they are to all. Finally, this past Sunday, I attended the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary Breakfast. It is a big fundraiser for them. It was very well attended this time, so hopefully they have those announcements out in the future. There will be a scheduling change to the December breakfast. It will not be the first Sunday because of its proximity to Thanksgiving. They want to make sure that everybody could attend, so the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary Breakfast will be December 8th at 8:30 a.m. And the price will be changing to $15 per person. Several announcements. Tonight's work session and meeting were both changed. Next Monday is the Veterans Day, November 11th. With us changing our meeting, it's also because city offices are closed on Monday. So if your trash day is Monday, please see the adjusted schedule. There will be no yard waste or special pickups next week for Public Works. Finally, a reminder from the mayor to sign up for the city's Veterans Day Appreciation Breakfast being held this Saturday, the November 9th at 9 a.m. This is a registration required event, so please sign up for your ticket in advance. That concludes my report. Moving on to agenda item number 5, general public hearing. Now's the time that we wish to hear from you, our community. We welcome your comments, which are very important to us. The clerk has handed me the sign-up sheet in the rear of the room. There's currently no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the chamber that wishes to speak at general public hearing? With no one signed up to speak, I will open general public hearing at 6:14 p.m. and close general public hearing at 6:14 p.m. Agenda item number 6, introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 2035, an ordinance amending the general operating budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, and to provide an effective date. Director Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we discussed at the work session earlier this evening, there's a $35,035 increase to the capital improvement program to the FY 2025 budget. This is our third amendment. We are increasing funding for the emergency rescue vehicle. We are reallocating ARPA-funded projects that we will not be able, for which we will not be able to meet the deadline to have those funds encumbered by the end of the calendar year, to more shovel-ready projects that the Department of Public Works is prepared to conduct. So those will be, currently, those will be decreases to the Van Duzen Dam improvements, Morton Place, Stanley Place. This is just the balance of Compton Avenue. That street has been completed, but this is the remaining $3,557. 4th Street, Park Avenue improvements, and then a reduction in the curb and gutter improvements due to its funding, and reallocating those funds to the sidewalk improvements, alley improvements, and street light upgrades, again, for a net change of only $35,035. I would like to point out, Mr. President, I apologize that I missed it, but technically, the bid recommendation for the police vehicle, the Bearcat vehicle, the bid recommendation can't be approved until the ordinance is passed.
Thank you, Director Saylor. With that, I will open general public hearing on ordinance number 2035 at 6:16 PM. There's no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the chamber that wishes to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I will close general public hearing on ordinance number 2035 at 6:16 PM. This item was previously heard at tonight's work session. There was quite a lengthy discussion. Are there any additional comments or questions from the council? If not, as Ms. Saylor has pointed out, we would need a motion to suspend the rules to pass this ordinance tonight before we can move on with some of the bid recommendations. Is there a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 2035?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a motion to suspend the rules.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Simmons,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clark,
Yes?
Councilwoman Johnson,
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance number 2035. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2035.
And now, motion to approve ordinance number 2035.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clark,
Yes?
Councilwoman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Simmons,
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Director Saylor. Agenda item number 7, consideration of purchase requisition curbside composting supplies. Sustainability Manager Michelle Blair, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President Cole and Council. As introduced in the work session at 5 p.m. today, I am requesting approval for the request to purchase composting supplies for the curbside program. These purchases are for the residents that are not currently part of the city's curbside organics recycling program and will allow them to participate in the program prior to Ordinance 2010 effective date of July 2025. Approval is requested from the City Council for the purchase of 35-gallon Rayrig Pacific outdoor carts and RFID tags, 12-gallon outdoor carts and 1.85-gallon kitchen countertop containers from Orbis Corporation and compostable bags for a total cost of $306,610.
Thank you, Ms. Blair. This item was heard earlier this evening. Are there additional comments or questions from the council? Mr. Simmons?
Just to note for residents who may be watching too, this enables us to fulfill the ordinance 2010 sort of
Yes.
promise the city's made. And also just to join with other members of council, it is a huge effort for us to build this capability within the city. So, and you've been leading the charge. So thank you for your efforts and sort of keep coming back to get this out to everybody. So
Thank you, sir.
I know there's more legwork to go, so please stick with us.
Thank you.
I did want to thank you for the inclusion of the 12-gallon outdoor carts. I'm excited to see those. I know several residents that have previously participated in the volunteer program said that the 35-gallon was a bit too large for their townhouses. I assume that they'd be able to trade in a 35-gallon for the smaller. I'm excited to see what those look like. I personally compost a lot, but my container is never more than half full, so the 12-gallon should be a nice addition. Any additional comments or questions from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I motion that we approve the purchase for the curbside composting carts, kitchen countertop carts, RFID tags, and compostable bags.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
And Mr. President, as being the compost ambassador, I'll second that.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Clerk,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Simmons,
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Blair. Agenda item number 8, consideration of bid recommendation, municipal phone system upgrade, Department of Information and Technology Director James Cornwall-Shield, you have the floor.
Good evening, President Cole and esteemed council members. Before you is the bid recommendation for the upgrade of the core software of our citywide phone system. This is a critical piece of the technology stack in our communications, and it drives the city's office phone lines at every one of our city facilities. We last upgraded the Avaya system in 2021, moving to version R8, which is now end of life, and in order to continue expanding the system to service more facilities and more users, we must again upgrade to Aura R10, the latest version. Our Avaya vendor is Converge One of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Converge One has served the city's phone system maintenance and support needs for over a decade and has an excellent record of service with us. Converge One is a master contractor on the State of Maryland PBX Telecommunications Equipment and Services Master Contract 060B14-00048. Funding for this project is provided in the adopted FY 2025 Capital Improvement Plan, and the cost of the project is $58,657. It is our recommendation that the Mayor and City Council award Converge One of Minneapolis, Minnesota, a $58,657 contract for the software upgrade of our Avaya phone system in accordance with the State of Maryland PBX Telecommunications Equipment and Services Master Contract. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. Are there any additional questions or comments from the council? Ms. Johnson?
Sorry, I forgot these last time, but are we using the current equipment or will it come with additional equipment? Something I read said just labor.
So this is just labor. There is no equipment involved here. We do periodically, on a rotating basis, upgrade the equipment that we're using. The servers for this are virtual servers, so there's no hardware upgrade associated with it. We upgrade our virtual environment separately. But the phones that are used with this system, the newer phones are only compatible with this newer system, but the older phones that we still do have in some of our locations are still supported here. So as we do our annual hardware updates, this will continue to support new hardware.
Thank you. And just last question is what's the time frame to complete the upgrade?
So it's generally, timeframe's about a month, and that's including the planning and deployment of the new servers and then the actual transition. There is a short downtime associated with the upgrade. It should be very short. The last time we did this upgrade, I believe we had about a 30-minute outage of all phone systems. We try to upgrade it such that we can roll over one side and then roll over the other. The last upgrade involved implementing a whole new E911 system, so it was a little longer of an upgrade than usual.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Any additional questions or comments from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the bid and award contractor Converge One for upgrading the city's phone system at a cost of $58,657.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Simmons?
Yes.
Councilwoman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clerk?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item number 9, consideration of purchase requisition of an emergency Bearcat vehicle. Laurel Police Department Chief Russ Hamill, you have the floor.
Good evening. Thank you, President Cole and council members. Appreciate being here this evening. The Laurel Police Department is requesting permission to purchase a Lenco emergency Bearcat vehicle that was approved within our current budget. This armored vehicle is utilized to safely deploy officers, particularly our ERT members, into areas where safety may be extremely compromised for officers in the community alike, in order to assist in managing such events to safer conclusions. It is anticipated the vehicle will enhance safety concerns by providing armored protection for officers executing their responsibilities in particularly vulnerable positions where gunfire and other dangers may exist. This would include managing armed conflicts, rescuing people in risk of being injured or that are already injured, and providing a safer overall environment for tactical movements utilized in the management of our high-risk events. Funding for this purchase, as I noticed, has already been included in the 2025 capital improvement projects and is currently at $271,639. We respectfully request that the Mayor and City Council approve this proposed purchase of this Lenco emergency Bearcat vehicle. Thank you. Available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Chief. Before we move on to the council, can you just tell the public again what you had said at the work session about why we need this?
I'll make it shorter because I'm getting looks from you guys. It is of particular use in high dynamic danger situations for us to be able to deploy our officers safely, where we may have to extract a member of the community, extract a member of the department, or take our officers into what we would refer to as a hot zone. And it provides a higher degree of safety due to the armored capabilities of the vehicle, and gives us other abilities as well, which I really don't want to discuss due to tactical concerns I would have publicly discussing them.
Thank you. And you said this has a life expectancy of 15 to 20 years.
We say 15, we're hoping 15 to 20. And as I mentioned earlier, the real hope with this is you never have to use it. The reality is, in this day and age, we may have to use it. We better be able to deploy it safely in order to keep our community safer, rather than regretting that we didn't do so.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Yeah, just to share a little lingo with residents, ERT is an emergency response team.
Yes.
So in addition, for residents who may be watching, in addition to having sort of your officers, patrol officers that we're probably all familiar with, we do have some pretty highly trained officers in our force, which is a great asset to the city to sort of have that ability to do this response. So we have this capability in-house. So this is an investment to sort of give them what they need to do. Again, we hope not to be able to, certainly, but it's not unfathomable that something like that would happen. So we retain the ability to have something to stand between them if they need to help us, or even our own citizens if we need to get them out of harm's way. So thank you.
And just as a reminder, we're a full-service agency. We don't have other agencies come into the city to do traditional police services. The city of Laurel has provided for a full-service police department. So whatever you see other departments do, our city officers do. And within that group, we do have a specially trained emergency response team that is fully capable of utilizing this equipment in this manner.
Thank you, Chief. If there are no further questions or comments from the council, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to purchase the Lenco emergency Bearcat vehicle.
And do I have a second?
A second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Simmons,
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item number 10, consideration of a fleet acquisition for a TYMCO 435 street sweeper. Director of Public Works, Tim Miller, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Cole. City Council members. The Department of Public Works is requesting approval for the purchase of a Timco 435 street sweeper. This will be in addition to the fleet to meet the demand of the service with additional developments coming on board next year. The department solicited several quotes, including from vendors on state and county contracts. The accepted quote is from Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems of Easton, Maryland, through the Sourcewell contract number 111522 TYM. This equipment will help us navigate alleys, narrower streets, and efficiently ensuring compliance with our county stormwater management regulations. The received quotes: Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems, $234,796. Maryland Industrial Truck, $289,876.55. Funding is available through the adopted fiscal year 2025 CIP Fleet Replacement Project. It's recommended that the purchase of this equipment for a total cost of $234,796 be awarded to Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems of Easton, Maryland.
Thank you very much, Director. We had a lengthy conversation on this agenda item at the work session. Are there any additional comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead, Mr. Simmons.
Just to sort of add again, for those who may have watched the work session, things for residents to be aware here is we're adding number of streets that we need to be able to sweep, and that's part of giving us capacity to do that, as well as enhancing our ability to go back over high visibility areas, be they Main Street, be they, down at the malls or things like that. So I know members of council, a lot of us have received, some saying, hey, how can we sort of give that extra polish and shine to our city? So I think that came out in a work session just to share to those tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Additional comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of the equipment for a total of $234,796, and that it be awarded to Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems of Eastern Maryland.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Johnson? Yes. Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clerk?
Yes.
Councilman Simmons?
Yes.
President Cole?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Agenda item number 11, consideration of a fleet acquisition for a street crack sealer. Department of Public Works Director Tim Miller, you have the floor. Mr. Miller, is your microphone on?
It went off.
There you go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Department of Public Works is requesting approval for the purchase of a Crack Pro 125 melter applicator. It's been at least 3 years since the city has owned this piece of equipment. The last one became inoperable, and other purchases became a higher priority. It will be beneficial to seal cracks in the streets to mitigate the need, in some instances, for full asphalt replacement. The Equalis Group is a purchasing cooperative organization that provides contracts competitively bid for the use of public agencies. The accepted quote is from Sealmaster of Cockeysville, Maryland, through the Equalis Group, contract number COG-2149D. Funding is available through the adopted FY 2025 CIP Fleet Replacement Project. The cost for this equipment is $82,228.91. It is recommended that the purchase of this equipment for a total cost of $82,228.91 be awarded to Sealmaster of Cockeysville, Maryland.
Thank you very much, Director. I'm personally looking forward to this piece of equipment. I know as I walk through several of the old town streets that have now been repaved, I wondered why the cracks remained open and had weeds growing in them. Knowing that ours was broken explains that, and we probably could have extended the life of those streets a little bit longer if we had this. So I'm very happy to see this one. Are there any additional comments or questions from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the bid for the purchase of the crack sealer to Sealmaster at a cost of $82,228.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilman Simmons?
Yes.
Councilwoman Clark?
Yes.
Councilwoman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our final agenda item of this evening, introduction and first public hearing on Resolution Number 4-2024, a resolution of the Laurel City Council to approve the rewrite of the council's standing rules. Brief recap from the work session. I'm introducing this legislation to clean up several of the things that this council has observed since we've been sworn in last November. There were a lot of things that as a new council member, the question was asked, where are you getting this information? We've had items come up as far as public hearing, filling a vacancy, how to introduce legislation. What the goal of this resolution does is clean up those rules to put everything in one place. Having everything in one place will make it easier for new council members as well as existing council members to know why we're doing something the way we are. This document also brings in a lot of Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules of Order is not an easy read and can take quite a bit of time to find what you're looking for. And even when you read it in Robert's Rules, it really begs the question, well, what does that actually mean? So this takes a lot of those rules, puts them into plain English for everyone up here and for the public. With that, I would like to turn it over to Ms. Anderson for her legal review of the document.
Good evening, President Cole and members of the City Council. I have reviewed the standing rules for legal compliance with both the city charter and applicable state law requirements. For instance, there's reference to open meeting requirements. I also reviewed the rules from the perspective of good procedure and governance. And it is always helpful if a body has a document that they can go to govern its conduct. And it's also very helpful for the body to have a document that the community can refer to. And this document accomplishes both of those. And as you mentioned at the work session, it does pull everything into one document. And so that is always very helpful.
Thank you very much for your expertise. I will go ahead and open general public hearing on Resolution Number 4-2024 at 6:37 p.m. There is no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the chamber wishing to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I will close general public hearing on Resolution Number 4-2024 at 6:37 p.m. Are there questions or comments from the council? Proposed amendments. Go ahead, Mr. Simmons.
I didn't get a chance to say it during work session, but thank you, I know, and Ms. Green for your lot of work that went into this. Also, thank you to the city solicitor for your legal compliance review. I know that provides a comfort to members of council. I know there's a couple edits I mentioned in work session that will sort of smooth out, but I just want to be sure to thank you all for your work.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. I did want to remind everybody, as we mentioned in the work session, that the new resolution, if adopted by the council, would be a living document, so we wouldn't have to go through a lengthy process again. If we found that there's something in the document that needed to be changed, we could change the document by simple majority motion. Any additional comments or questions from the council? Hearing none, this agenda item will be placed on the next meeting for second public hearing with possible action scheduled for November 25th. Before we adjourn, I did want to remind everybody once again that there is no council meeting next week and city offices are closed in observance of Veterans Day. Our next scheduled meeting will be November 25th at 6 p.m. in person here in the council chambers. With that, our meeting is adjourned.